Hello everyone, this is AAUW Conversation and Connection. AAUW stands for the American Association of University Women, and we are a group in Auburn, California, one of many throughout the nation. Before I start though, I'm going to thank Phil. He does this little show and I haven't thanked him in a while and he always gets upset with me, but he just called me pretty. I know it's a lineup, but he did. So thank you, Phil, for doing this for us. Anyway, this is a way that AAUW can connect with the community. We have scholarships. We advocate for equality in young women and girls in particular, but certainly in everyone. So that's the introduction. And I am going to talk a little bit more today about our Trivia Bee, which is our main fundraiser, if you will. It's where we get our money for scholarships and that kind of thing. So my guest today is, she has notoriety in AAUW. And with that, I'm going to, Delana, how are you?
Oh, fine,
This
thanks.
is Delana Ruud, and I always start my show out with, let's hear about your story. How did you get to today? And that might, are you native? You're native, right?
I'm a native of Auburn, yes.
Auburn, yes. Okay.
Grew up on a ranch and way out,
Okay.
Lone Star area.
Oh, Lone Star. I didn't know that.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Yeah. And my parents married in 1943. My mother was a city girl, and it was quite a change to go from. She grew up in Denver and Berkeley, and her father was an attorney.
Oh boy.
And so to switch to living with a young, handsome man who was a rancher, my parents met virtue of World War II, like a lot of young couples did.
Right.
My grandparents retired here to Auburn. My grandfather had a law practice in Berkeley, and he had two brothers who were attorneys in Reno, and they used to go back and forth and help each other.
Oh my gosh.
And driving through Auburn, they always thought this was a neat little town, and so when he retired, they moved to Auburn. And eventually my my mother had been a school teacher. She taught English and was planning on going to Europe. Well, World War II broke out.
Oh.
And they said, no, you're not going to Europe.
Right.
And so she came to California, and the war broke out, and she was recruited to teach first aid classes.
Oh, what an invaluable service.
And my dad was in one of her classes, and that's how they met.
Oh my gosh.
And he had gone to the University of Washington.
Okay.
And, you know, they just hit it off.
Yeah.
And I know that she would never have married someone who was not a college graduate.
Okay.
So.
Did she graduate from Berkeley? You mentioned Berkeley.
Well,
Where did she graduate
no,
from?
she actually graduated from Stanford.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh, well. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
she did graduate work at Berkeley, and also got a secondary teaching credential
From Berkeley.
at Berkeley.
Okay, so Stanford, Berkeley, pretty down. And then where'd your dad graduate from?
He went to the University of Washington.
Washington. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. You said he was from Washington.
Yeah, he grew up on a big wheat and cattle ranch in eastern Washington.
Okay.
My grandfather was a homesteader. He was from
Okay.
Norway.
Oh.
He homesteaded in 1883 when the area was still a territory.
Okay. Wow. That's a very cool legacy history of you. So, how cool. So, okay, you grew up in Auburn, born
Right.
here. I know you have two siblings,
Yes,
right?
I have a twin brother
Yeah.
and an older sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And we we all went to Sierra College, and then Ann transferred to Berkeley, and Bart went to Oregon State University and got a degree in forestry, and ended up teaching at Sierra College.
oh, how fun. That's full circle.
Yeah.
And where'd you go to school?
I transferred to the University of Washington.
Washington. Oh, so you went up that way. And your dad was still a 49er fan. Oh, I got to get football in there because we're all done for another few months. But he was a 49er fan from the university. Oh, he would have loved that game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he might not have. We all hate Seattle, but he might not have hated Seattle.
I'm still a 49er fan.
Yes, we have to be. And Dad, I bet, was too. Anyway, that's kind of fun. So then your career, where did your career take you?
Well, from the University of Washington, I spent a year in the VISTA program, also known as the Domestic Peace Corps, and spent that year in Wyoming. I was in Rawlins for a year doing community involvement work.
Okay.
And then from there I went to grad school at the University of Minnesota. Got a master's in public health in the field of community health education. And of course there were no jobs when I finished.
Of course.
And came back to California, and I worked in Squaw Valley for 2 years.
Are you a skier?
I am a skier.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Do you still ski?
No.
No, but
Quit skiing a long time ago.
so
But anyway,
you're a
I worked,
smart skier.
oh yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I worked in the food business, in the
Okay.
restaurant business.
Okay. All right.
And then eventually was able to get a job as a health educator. I went to work for El Dorado County Health Department.
Okay.
Worked there for almost 8 years, and then Proposition 13 came along, and that was the end of that job.
Oh.
And then it took a while to land someplace
Right.
because Prop 13 put a lot of people out of work. And
Yeah, because
especially-
it crunched in the funding,
Yeah.
right? Because they couldn't get as much off of property tax and stuff, right? Okay,
right,
that
yeah,
makes
so
sense. Yeah.
social service type jobs were
Yeah.
just hard to come by. But eventually I went to work for the Auburn Library, running the Senior Community Information Referral Program.
Oh.
I did that for 12 years. And in the meantime, went back to school, and night school, weekends, and got a second master's in library science. And the funding situation for the INR program went away, and so I switched over to the reference desk. So
Wow.
spent 24 years working for the Auburn Library.
Altogether, the first
Altogether.
12 with the
Yeah,
okay.
INR, and then the last.
And INR, tell me again.
Information and referral.
Rural. Okay. All right. They still have something like that?
If you want the service, pick up your phone and dial 211.
Oh, yeah, that's the reference line for a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, yeah. That's a relatively new well, not new. It's
they've had it-
10,
they've had
15 years maybe?
Well, nationwide, it's been around for a long time, but
Okay.
it took Placer County a long time to get things.
Organized on
Yeah.
it, yeah. I remember a speaker from the home out in DeWitt, not the home, the homeless camp, I guess. And I made labels that said call 211 and gave out water bottles to people that might be needful of that. I thought that was a cool way to get the word out
Yeah.
because I hadn't heard about it, and I thought, well, there's got to be more than just me not hearing about it. But what you kind of have such a nice blend, Delana, with your going to school where your dad went to school, but doing kind of the work your mom did with the Red Cross and social kind of help. What a nice blend you are. Yeah. So, and what did Ann do? Ann's your older sister.
Well, Ann went to Berkeley, and my recollection is that when she was in the 5th grade, she decided she was going to go to Berkeley and she was going to live in San Francisco.
Okay, all right.
So she went to Berkeley, and then she went into the Peace Corps.
Okay.
And got out of that. It was a bad situation. And ended up working as a legal secretary for a couple of high-powered big law firms in San
Okay.
Francisco for
All right, so you
many years.
got the legal minds as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
wow. Okay, so that's your career. How did you get involved with AAUW?
Well, AAUW started in Auburn in 1949, and my mother, along with about 100 other women, were the initial joiners,
Yeah.
pioneers for Auburn.
Yeah.
And for my mom, it was an absolute godsend, because you can imagine with her brain power being stuck out on a ranch with 3 little kids.
Three
You
little
know,
smart kids.
3 little smart kids. A lot of people, we didn't have electricity until I was about 2.5 years old.
Wow, that's hard on a mom.
And
Twins and
fortunately, my dad was a hands-on dad.
Okay.
And he, when they married, he had a dairy. And if you can imagine hand milking 20 head of cows, actually that's what kept him out of World War II. Because
He was a dairy farmer.
he had a dairy, and anyone who was a producer of food or fiber did not get drafted. They had to have obviously knowledgeable people at home to raise the food to
Right.
feed
and the
the
women
troops
do a lot of the work too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
And so anyway, he had his dairy, and then when I was 3 years old, he went to work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, full time.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
we had the ranch, which he did that on the side, but his full-time job was working for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Oh.
Thank
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. But are you still on the same farm?
I live in the house that I grew up in.
Is that right? Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. And do you still have all the acres?
We do. We have 160 acres.
You do. Do you lease that out?
It's leased. We've been leasing it for quite a number of years.
And so somebody says, I want 50 acres and I'm gonna.
No, they lease the whole thing.
Oh.
And the family that leases the place run Angus.
Oh, so it's still cattle.
Yeah,
Of
it's
sorts,
cattle.
not dairy, but cattle. Yeah.
Cattle. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, I love it even more. Where's the beef? It's at Delana's. I'm still thinking that was just such a nice story. So I have you here basically because we're going to talk a little bit, carrying you forward. Oh, did you finish your story about how you got into AAUW? Your mom.
I got into AAUW because of my mother. As I said, AAUW was an absolute godsend for my mom.
Yeah.
And she belonged to a book club which met on a Thursday evening, and it just brightened her day, brightened her life, because she had the opportunity to be with probably a dozen or more really, really bright women.
Yeah.
And, of course, they always had a book that they all read, and then
Right.
somebody did a book review, and it was a round robin
Right.
discussion, but
Right.
it was just
Social, too.
basically being with a dozen or so really, really intelligent women.
Yeah.
And then she belonged to an international relations group, discussion group,
Oh.
and every month, they planned out a year in advance, and then every month somebody was in charge of whatever the meeting was and
Yeah.
put together a program.
Yeah.
Sometimes they had speakers they brought in, and sometimes they just did their own research and did a
Yeah.
presentation, whatever.
Mary Boyage used to carry that on, as did Helen Francis.
Right.
And I went to several of those early on when I joined, and they were great. Now we've kind of not carried the torches forward as we should or would. There is that Great Decisions group.
Yeah.
But But yeah, that was a good group. Yeah, and we still have international dinner, so that's
Right,
nice too.
right,
But
yeah.
kind of carry that little torch.
Yeah.
So your mom also was president for a while, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
AAUW?
She was president at one point.
Yeah.
Probably when I was in college.
Yeah. and so you came home and Mom said, "No, you're going to join." Is
Oh
that-
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I knew that I was going to join,
Okay.
and actually, I when I got back to California, I was obviously living in Squaw Valley, but I think I didn't join until probably 1975.
Okay.
I think I'm supposed to be getting a 50-year pin pretty soon.
Maybe. Okay. I'll make a note. I'll follow up on that.
I know they have the records, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, 50 years. That's impressive.
But I really believe in the organization because this organization actually started in 1881. You know, when there weren't very many women college graduates,
Right.
and if we think life was tough for women now, can you imagine in 1880
Right.
being a college graduate? Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, it's just amazing. But I really believe in what the organization pushes, which is education and economic equity. And, you know, we still have a huge pay gap.
You know, people tell me that. I'm not quite convinced, so you have to convince me. I think there's a huge pay gap at a certain higher level. Definitely. But I think, I mean, I worked 50 years and had equal pay with my peers, that I know of anyway, based on the same seniority, my education probably didn't count as much as I would have liked, but that's okay. It didn't count for anybody really in a few things. So I didn't see it at that level as much, but I definitely think it's higher up for sure. But you think it's beyond that? You think it's everywhere?
Well, certainly unions have helped.
Yeah,
And
yeah. See, I was a union rep
Yeah.
too. That didn't hurt, right? Yeah.
And I very, very strongly believe in unions.
Yeah.
And you know, they certainly have helped with the equity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably the higher up jobs.
Yeah. That's where I
that's
see the
where the
disparity. Yeah.
lack of equity.
And see, and by the time you get there, oftentimes you're not part of a union.
That's true.
You know, you kind of work your way up to salaried or non-salaried, whatever verbiage there is on that, and so you kind of lose your roots of and a little bit of backing from the unions. Yeah.
But you know, as an example, one of my good college friends, she and her husband ended up in Sacramento, and she went to work. She was a poli-sci major, and had a master's degree in public administration, and went to work for a lobbying firm in Sacramento, and had worked for them a couple years, and then they hired a new guy. He had zero work experience. She had had several years of work experience prior to going to work for them.
Right.
He started at a higher salary than she did, with no work experience.
Yeah.
And she just, you know, she kept on working. She worked another year and just said, you know, this is nuts. And so she started her own firm.
There you go. Strong woman. Strong
Yeah.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, and had a long, very successful career. And
So-
probably worked 10 times harder than a lot of the guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what they say. Even with dancing, which is not working, but it's harder to be the woman because you're doing everything in backwards and high heels.
Right. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
So, and that's kind of in the workforce too. I think you have to you work harder. Shouldn't have to be this way. Harder to show your validity. So yeah, there's that. But the real reason we're here is our Trivia Bee, which
Right.
is one of our major fundraisers coming up, and it'll be our 12th Trivia Bee. I think we've missed a couple years in there because of COVID, so it's been over the course of 14 or 15 years.
Yeah.
But so our first one would have been 2010, 2011, something like that. 2014. I can't remember our first bee, but you were on the team of 3 and you won the first bee.
Right.
And then we had our 11th bee last year and you were on a team of 3 and you won last year.
Right.
I think that's so fun. And so the first Trivia Bee, again, people who might not be used, we go out and we gather teams of 3 people, and they answer questions from the fun entertainment of the night, and a dinner, and it's just kind of involving the community and the back and forth repartee, if you will, on the teams. But each year is a different theme. So our first year was flowers, fauna, and fools. Foothills, flowers, and fools.
I don't
Maybe
even
that was
remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because both Delana, she's been on every team, and I've been in the background on every one. And I think it was foothills, flowers, and fools. I remember fools and foothill, I think. Anyway, so it was like more of a local start to our trivia, and then every year we've gone on. So you won that first one, and you were with Carol.
I was with Carol Francis
Uh-huh.
and Peggy Dunovitz.
Oh, you were with Peggy was on that. She was the half.
She
you
was
guys
the
are
half.
2.5 natives.
Right.
Because that's part of the fun too. They each get to name their team. And you and Carol were natives, and then she was the half native.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, that's fun. And then last year, our theme was all about sports.
Right.
And you were again on a team.
Right.
You still kept the name, 2.5 natives.
2.5 natives.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was you and your sister.
Right.
And
Bob Fair.
Bob Fair. He's just a friend, a family friend?
Well, Bob is the husband of one of the women Ann plays mahjong with.
Oh, they brought in the ringer. Not really, because now this is the fun part of the story. So these 3 people there, and we've got young people. What? You're pointing at something. That camera. Oh, I tell you, this technology is just too much. Anyway, we have young people on these teams, and so we're like, no, we're going, okay. I was actually on a team too, but I thought I knew it all, right? I didn't know anything. But, so you guys won all about sports.
Yeah.
You and Ann and Bob.
Right.
And I was just, and so the reason was really you. You
Well,
were the...
Bob and I think, probably got 90% of it, yeah. Ann got a few of them that, I can't remember, there was, she got 2 or 3 that I just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how the teams work. They try. One of 3 we're hoping would get an answer right.
Yeah.
And then the other, but sports, that's so fun. But that's because you're a newspaper reader.
I'm a newspaper reader, and I've been reading a newspaper. People probably find this hard to believe, but when I was in the 2nd grade and really starting to read, I would sit down at the dinner table after dinner with my dad and read the Sacramento Bee.
Aww.
And he taught me how to read a newspaper.
Newspaper. Okay.
And obviously I was a voracious reader.
Right.
You think, okay, 2nd grader reading the Sacramento Bee. Well,
Did you also read the Union?
No, I didn't read the Union.
'Cause that was there too.
We only got the Bee.
Only got the Bee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we would go start to finish, the front page and the editorial page, the weather page.
Yes. Yeah.
And the economic information and the sports page.
And the sports page. Yeah.
Yeah. And was it, I know it sounds illogical that a 2nd grader would be that interested, but was interested in current events.
Oh, that's kind of cool. They don't even teach that anymore, I don't think. Did they teach current events? I don't know. But I remember liking current events, but I liked it because I could go through the paper and cut out articles that that interested me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what they were at the time. I don't think I started that young. But that, I just find that we are such good paper readers. I still take the paper. I
do
take
too.
the Auburn Journal, which got to go local because you'll hear a lot more local stories. And in fact, your picture was in the paper the other
Yes,
day,
I saw
promoting
saw
our
that.
bee coming up. So I find that really
Yeah.
just genuinely fun.
Yeah,
So-
I read the Auburn Journal. While I subscribe to the Auburn Journal, I still subscribe to the Sacramento Bee,
Yeah,
and I read the LA Times and the San Francisco Chronicle online.
online. See, it's hard for me to read online. Did you find that easy to transition into, or you
I-
just always were okay with it?
I don't particularly like reading newspapers online. I'm one of these tactile
Tactile,
people.
yeah, me too.
And I listen to National Public Radio a lot
Okay.
and PBS Channel 6.
Yeah. I think it's well, anyway, I hope everybody does the same thing because that's the way to get good information, well-rounded information. So, our Trivia Bee is March 28th. It's up at the Congregational Church. There are flyers out, and I'll leave a flyer for Phil to put up on this screen. And yes, and I have a yellow one too if you want it. It's our yellow. Yeah. Anyway, and the theme this year are creatures big and small. So it's going to be that animal world and all of that. And Delana's trying to go for a treaty. Yeah. So anyway, it'll be fun. I want to end that with you have a new role in your life. We'll kind of end the story with that. In that you're a new puppy mom.
I'm a new puppy mom, yes. I have a new schnoodle
A
puppy.
schnoodle.
Schnauzer poodle cross.
Yes.
And Gracie is not so little anymore, actually. She probably weighs 13 pounds.
13 pounds from
And
5
she-
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, she's that long and probably that tall, almost knee height.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah.
But she's going to be a nice sized little dog.
Yeah.
She's 6 months old.
6 months old. Are you doing okay?
Oh, yeah.
You hanging in there?
We're hanging in there. We're going through the terrible twos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And chewing everything. And she's she learned that she dances on her hind feet, and she discovered that she's tall enough that she can reach the top of the dining room table with her front
Oh,
paws.
she can
And
stretch
she
out.
dances around the table.
How cute is that?
And can't leave anything on the table that she can reach.
Reach, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a hard habit to break, because my dog still does it, and she's 6 years. Ugh. Anyway, and they're smart. These
Oh, yeah, they're
these
smart.
crossbreds are really smart doggies. So
Yeah.
congratulations on being
So
Gracie's mom.
Gracie's going to the groomer tomorrow.
Okay, well, we gotta keep them clean. So I'm going to wrap up the show. I just loved your stories. I wish you well at the Trivia Bee. I'll see you there. Just a quick note, again, March 28th. 5:30 up at the Congregational Church. Teams are forming now. They need to be formed in the next 3 or 4 weeks. You get 3 people together. It costs $375 this year. That's $125 each, but it includes dinner and a drink and your entertainment. The subject matter, again, creatures great and small. Large and small? What did they say on there? Creatures big and small. Big and small. We didn't want to infringe on the name of the TV show. Our leader on the teams had some health issues, and so you might be calling me. Phil, can I leave my phone number on there? Okay. So you'll see flyers around town. They're usually yellow because it's a Trivia Bee. We started out with the bee colors of yellow and black. And yeah, there's the one. And but the phone number now, I'm going to give you mine if you're listening and you want to form a team. I'd love to hear from you. And my number is 530-401-1906. Gala is on the flyer. like I said, she has some health issues right now. You could probably still call her. She's not, she's still in the game, but I'm an alternate for any information you might need. So feel free to do that. I'm going to wrap up. I think we're football again. It's in my sad time of life because I can't. It's hard to not do that. The other thing, and this might, do I have to do my disclosure? Anything I say, the last wrap up is not ACTV or AAUW, but it's just my little comment. I saw this editorial talking about paper reading, and it's about resistance, and I have not ever been one to. I believe in resistance. I don't want to sound like that, but I'm not out there on the streets as much as I should be, maybe. But I saw this, and this is the way I feel, and I have always been a little short in putting it in good words. The best weapon against propaganda is wisdom through knowledge and communication. That's starting out thinking that our government is propaganda, which I do. So that's my disclaimer, that's my thinking. But then this goes on to say, the first step is to make talking about politics not just acceptable, but an important part of daily conversation with anyone and everyone. So there are still things that we agree upon. There and you have to care for one another. You have to hear the other side. Anyway, that's just been my take. I get kind of criticized that I'm not more one way. I just think we need to, like Bad Bunny said, again, the reference to football, Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, it takes love, not hate, to get this going in a proper direction. So, okay. Hey, with that, everybody take care of one another. See you next time.